Name is Jasmine, and I'm doing my informative speech on human trafficking. And this is my audience. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hola.
Is human trafficking. Human trafficking is an issue that is affecting people everywhere in the world, and literally almost every single person is affected by it in some way. And it is the exploitation of people, including victims, into prostitution, subjecting victims to slavery, or forcing them into sexual acts. And 80% of human trafficking is sexual exploitation, and then the other 20% is labor. And then it's the third largest international crime industry, and it generates a profit of $32 billion every year. And half of that is made in the human trafficking industry is made in industrialized countries such as North America and Europe. And those aren't countries, but several countries in those continents. And then who is involved in human trafficking? The International Labor Organization says that there are 20 to 30 million slaves in the world today, and 70% of those are female, and then 50% are children, which is a huge number, and that should not be there. And then there are more human slaves in the world today than ever before in history. So even back in times where African Americans were slaves, or even in Bible times when people were made slaves, we have more today than ever before, but it's a history that people don't bring to light, and governments are involved in it a lot. So it's something that people need to create more awareness of. And 100,000 children under 18, and they're trafficked into armed conflicts worldwide currently. So children are being bought, and they're being brought into wars as sex slaves and also as labor. And then how does human trafficking happen? A lot of times families will sell their children into human trafficking. So sometimes it's knowingly and sometimes it's unknowingly. Knowingly is when they don't have enough money and they have too many mouths to feed. So sometimes they'll sell their kids to a trafficker for a certain price. And then other times they'll think they're sending their children off to school or to a better life. In reality, they're sending them off to a human trafficker, and they end up being sold into slavery. And then traffickers will condition their victims through physical abuse, drug addiction, rape, and threats to their families and friends. And a lot of times they'll addict them to drugs, so they're relying on the person who gave them the drugs. So if they don't have that, they'll go into a relapse and they won't really have anything without it. As well as they'll make threats towards their families and say that they'll kill their families or anything like that. So if they tell anyone, something bad is going to happen to their friends. And that's something that they use to just keep them bound in without telling anyone or trying to escape. And then many governments are involved in human trafficking, and that's why it's still such a huge issue, especially in third world countries, because they receive a lot of money from it. And that's why it hasn't been brought up or brought to light as much as it should have been. And then it is such a thriving industry because even more people are buying the trafficking kids than the kids being trafficked. So more people are pouring into this industry, and that's why it's growing so fast, because we're basically supporting it. And then the effects of human trafficking is sex trafficking plays a major role in the spread of HIVs and AIDS. So a lot of sexually transmitted diseases are put in through sex trafficking. And then over 71% of trafficked children show suicidal tendencies, so it's creating a lasting effect on the kids and people put into it. And a lot of them have post-traumatic stress disorder and have depression and a lot of negative effects after they're brought out, and it takes a lot of counseling to bring them out of that. And then it is a growing organization because, unlike drugs, humans can be sold repetitively. So it's not something that can just be caught and stopped, because humans can be sold over and over again. So that's why it's growing so fast. And then 30,000 victims of sex trafficking die each year from abuse, disease, torture, and neglect. So it's something that is literally killing people worldwide. So I just wanted to create awareness, and hopefully this inspired you guys to do something about it and to put a stop to human trafficking. Thank you.